Welcome to TotalCast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
So my American Express gives me $15 every month towards Uber Eats. I got to tell you, they when I order something, it gets there pretty quick. Most of the time, it's like 15 minutes. I don't know if that's just where I am or what, but you know the algorithm, you know, it'll even say that the driver's also picking up another delivery and has to make it first. It already lays out the most efficient path for these drivers for dropping this food off. And what we found here is that a food delivery company, is this in Asia?
No, Malaysia.
In Malaysia has found incredible efficiencies, almost a 200% increase in efficiency from saying we're going to analyze big data, location information, traffic information, so we can guide our drivers in the best possible route.
Yeah, Food Panda is the name. They have 30,000 Food Panda riders. So they are averaging deliveries up to 3 trips per hour now because of they analyze computationally to reveal patterns, trends, and associations. And this is really interesting. I love this part. He said food delivery is, in fact, the proverbial poster child of big data's effectiveness in operating the billion-dollar delivery industry.
No, it really is. Because when you talk about logistics, it's like we all know the most efficient line, the most efficient point between two forget it.
We know what you're saying.
We all know what I'm saying. Okay, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. That's what these algorithms are trying to do. How do we create the straightest line for our delivery drivers? Because that's going to cut down time. It's going to cut down costs. It's going to make our customers extremely happy.
Yeah, and this was interesting. Dot said crucial customer data collected from reviews and social media networks can be used in providing personalized and customer-centric needs, and in turn assist in tweaking operational procedures to achieve the desired outcome.
Yeah, so if somebody's like, if a Food Panda guy shows up and you ordered your food and he just whips the bag while he's on his bike and it hits your door, well, someone's going to go on social media and be like, well, look what happened. Well, we need to tweak our standard for how we actually place the food at the doorstep. You know what I mean? I'm not bombing a newspaper.
Well, we're seeing it now. I mean, and he talks about this, cloud kitchens, delivery-only setups. We're seeing like where you'll have 5 to 10 different companies and they're all using the same kitchen and there's no place for somebody to sit. This is like a kitchen in an industrial area that's just producing food and then delivery drivers are going to that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, I mean, that's going to be restaurants of the future and, and cloud kitchens, delivery-only setups. These are all available because of big data.
And I think, you know, it's cool, you know, because logistics, that's about that efficiency. And if we're trying to deliver a product, especially a material product, you know, you want to do it with the least amount of waste possible.
Yeah, and he said all these companies, this is so interesting. He said all these companies, you know, are just shots in the dark. That's what he said. They're shots in the dark saying, we'll be there 20 minutes, we'll be there 30 minutes. No, he said with big data, we know the exact time.
Yeah, that's cool.
For delivery.
There's no hunch. There's no telling your customer something and then they become disappointed because you're 20 minutes late.
Right.
There's just like, here is what it is. I can anticipate with a pretty good idea, depending on what traffic, you know, and what else is going on and how big my order is, how long it's going to take that delivery driver to be at my doorstep.
Yeah, and real-time data collection, traffic, route plans. I saw that the other day. I was looking for a UPS package, and I knew I wasn't going to be here.
I was just about to use this metaphor. Go ahead.
And I went on the UPS app, and it showed him driving around.
Yeah.
So I needed to get the package. It was an important one. It had some expensive things in there. So I actually went and I found them.
That's awesome.
On the app, I looked them and then I found them, and he was like super nice, cool UPS driver. Shout out UPS driver here in Albuquerque. He was like, "Oh, that's so cool. You know, I'm glad you got it." And he goes, "There's 2 other packages for you too." And he hands them to me through his little.
He's like, "Great, I don't have to do anything."
Yeah, I don't have to go but go through the gate and all that stuff. And so he was excited about it. But
that's a tracking stance.
Yes.
But what about UPS drivers when they did that big study? They're like, "We're not going to do any left-hand turns." Everybody's going to do right-hand turns. That way you don't have to stop and you can go right on red. So that way you're always taking the most efficient line. Even if you need to go left, you just have to go right a couple times, and now you're going left.
But there's a big thing, and this is kind of a small part in helping humanity, and what he talks about is creating this big data, coming out with these efficiencies, the productivity in how they can do that also lends to food wastage.
Yeah. No, that's a big deal, right? So we know how much to buy, how much to cook, how much to deliver effectively. And if we deliver it on time, well, the food's not cold. It's not going to go to waste.
I mean, how much waste restaurants are wasting food?
So much. And it's a bummer that they have to throw it all away because the state says you can't give that food out,
Right.
even to the homeless. But yeah, that's essentially the point. Food waste is a huge thing, especially if, there's food scarcity in so many areas. We as the people who have access to it really shouldn't be wasting it.
Yeah, and when you look at market trends of consumption, when you begin to look at temperature, I mean, all of these things play a role in turning, especially consumption. If they know pho soup or faux soup, everybody does that in the fall and winter because, then we know we can ramp up for that. And we know summertime we're going to have a 60% decrease in that soup, then we're not sitting there throwing out pots of soup away. It's that simple.
No, Walmart does a great job with this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do.
Is so technology driven, and they just supply so much product that it's important for them to do so, especially with these huge grocery markets that they have in their super centers. I mean, the last thing they want is that food waste. There's a big difference between a coffee maker sitting on a shelf that can be there for a while or a cucumber or an onion that's starting to rot in a box.
Right.
And it's the first thing you see when you walk in.
Yeah, and he says this transport pattern profiling helps us decide on future cloud kitchens as demand for a certain type of food is seen to be frequently ordered within a certain area, thus making it sensible for a cloud kitchen to be set up in that area.
Yeah. No, so you can actually use this data to say that we should probably be over here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're analyzing it. An easier path would be for them, Food Panda, to go on Turtle and be like, well, what type of food do you want and where do you reside? So rather than waiting for someone to buy it and then be reactive to it,
right,
I just know exactly where to go put that food kitchen.
Yeah, and he said this will eventually cut transport costs and time, allowing us to make our pricing more competitive for our customers as well. So we're eliminating, this is a win-win. This is how big data helps. Mm-hmm. We're eliminating waste.
Yep.
We're being more productive. We're being competitive so that the consumer wins when there's competition, especially on the pricing side of things. We're getting way more efficient. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a win. This is when I love to see a company use big data for the right reasons.
Yeah, and if they're preserving food at the same time, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yes.
If it gives people access to eat things that they otherwise didn't have access to, awesome.
Yeah, and when a company can turn around and say, okay, our commitment, yes, we're a restaurant company. Our commitment is to, like Chipotle, we've talked about them before. They do this really well. Yeah. We're saying, okay, we're going to look at the farmers. We're going to look at the quality of food, where we're getting it from. And then from there, that's going to be our main focus.
Yeah.
And you may pay $1 or $2 more. But at the end of the day, we want to have zero waste. They even keep, Chipotles are very simple inside. There's just wood everywhere. It's very, very simple, very effective. It's helping humanity. It's just a win.
What about McDonald's? We have 1 billion served. Who cares? How many cows did you not kill? You know what I mean? How much food?
We have 1 billion people obese.
How much food how many metric tons did you prevent from waste?
I would love to talk to an ethics officer or somebody at McDonald's. Are any of these companies like Philip Morris or, some of these older companies that, because they may be looking at taking something, and I want to give them the benefit of a doubt because ultimately I believe in team human. Mm-hmm. And I know you do too, but
sounds like a good t-shirt.
Yeah, I would love to be able to, there's a book on that where I got the statement from, so I want to give credit. But could you imagine if there's a think tank at McDonald's right now that's thinking about making their food better? How awesome would that be?
Yeah.
I would go start, if McDonald's would be like Chipotle and they would have that influence, like Walmart's doing with organic food.
Right.
I would start consuming food at McDonald's.
Yeah. I just, when you highlight those things and we talk about this all the time, that 16% of the public that only thinks you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can bring on the other 84% now. Start to crawl into the 84% by highlighting the good stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Really talk about all the good stuff.
Yeah, no, you just bought a Patagonia jacket, and I was online. This was funny. They must have heard us or something. So Patagonia is serving me ads.
Nice job, Patty.
But you know what the ad is?
What?
The ad is this, and they're serving me your jackets. So it's so weird. Maybe they know you bought the jacket and then you came over here with the triangulation, location, all that. But so that jacket that you bought, what the filler inside?
Yeah, the
is their
Prima
ad, and saying that we've got to the point, we've refined this over 25 years or whatever it is, that we've got to the point to where this is the most environmental friendly materials that we can use in our jacket.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
You don't need to rip the feathers
And they're
out of a
running an
goose.
ad that is for humanity.
Yeah.
You can market for humanity.
Yeah, and guess what? The jacket's only a byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
Patagonia has such a amazing focus. That is exactly, they should be a model that other companies should strive to take. Even major clothing producers. Look for their model. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, we'd love Apple to step into that role. Samsung, some of these things that we're consuming.
Yeah.
These.
Apple has these ads like behind the screen or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, the new one where they're showing people create art with
whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. Like that does not. Let's talk about what you do as a company.
Show if I was going to make an ad, I would show the process of creating a phone and how it's extracted from all these different parts of the world.
That's interesting.
And then from each of those, here's how we're elevating that local culture.
Yeah, all that,
and it shows dancing, and there's dancing, and it's like these children are not being used to get lithium out of the ground.
I was just about to use the lithium comment again. Yeah. In this lithium mining operation for the battery,
are those
batteries.
suicide nets? We have Apple employees from the United States, Canada, and UK going to these factories and removing them because we've created, sensible hours for these employees to work. And to show that power of taking those and people crying and bringing those suicide nets down.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that is an ad.
Or don't build your building any higher than 10 feet.
That's horrific, Alex.
I know. Well, it's just that idea. How do we centralize it, stack it high, and make it efficient?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole, I love...
Or build it underground so I don't have to see your factory and then no one can jump from anything.
I love that Tartle is the future and that Tartle is here specifically to help humanity. And when somebody signs up at Tartle.co, not only can they share their data, not only can they earn money, but they get to help their world. How do they help their world?
They're helping their world with the data. If you've seen just with Food Panda delivery, the power of how that can get a sandwich to your door or a bowl of soup efficiently at the lowest cost possible without having a huge carbon tax to do so, that's one little sliver of the power of data on, frankly, one of the most insignificant things ever. And now let's start to channel that towards things that are extremely significant, even public health. You like these social determinants. We can all come together with that data and say, this is how we are determining what the health of us as a society, as a human race looks like and what it should be benchmarked against. Tartle allows for the highlighting of the best parts of humanity. Wouldn't you want to see that? I get tired of watching the news and seeing the worst parts of humanity. We need to highlight the best stuff all the time. Transparent, clean. Not to say that there's not some negative things that need to be highlighted, because you need to learn from those. But learn that we need that for balance, but we need to start to highlight more of the good, because a lot of that is missed. The perspective is totally out of whack right now. We haven't found that equilibrium. And once we find that stabilization, we stabilize our climate, we stabilize public health, we stabilize, economic equalization, educational access, government and corporate transparency, global peace. Those are wonderful things that we can look for and say, look at what we did. I want people to run around and shout and talk about that at the World Economic Forum.
And how can somebody be a data champion, and how can they help in these 7 big issues that face our world?
To be a data champion, that requires you, first of all, getting the tools for your journey. And the one tool required for that is Tartle. And then after you have those tools, you need to be responsible with them. And you responsibly take those tools on your journey to say, I want to put my data towards these causes. These are the battles I want to go in, and these are the ones I want to win. I want to be the champion of this battle. I want to cut through all the crap with my data sword, and I want to say, here's the truth. Here's me. Here's me defining what that future looks like for everybody, including myself. And I'm not doing it, I'm not going to battle to separate people or in any sort of competitive stance. I am being that data champion on Tartle with this tool because I want to see what a unified planet looks like. I want to see what a planet looks like with longevity beyond 70 years. I want to really taste global peace. I want to know that in my lifetime. I don't want to believe in it. I want to know it for a fact. And that's what joining Tartle, being a data champion, showing that sort of power and response that can happen with our data when we collectively come together. That is how we define the brightest future for ourselves.
Last question. If you're Food Panda, if you're Chipotle, if you're Patagonia, we mentioned all these companies in our earlier podcasts. We mentioned, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, any company, and you're out there and you say, I want to be a part of Tartle. I want to, purchase data that's ethically sourced. I want to purchase data that is going to help humanity. How can these companies get involved with Tartle?
In the same simple format as if you were to sell up as a seller. If you're a person that wants to share your data, it's as easy as to sign up as a person that wants to purchase data. So they can do it for their own analysis. And that's just by going to tartle.co and saying, okay, here's the catalog of data that's available. What do I want? Do I want to mix and match it? Do I want, total customization? Sure. I can choose what what that specific data set is for Food Panda or Chipotle. And you're saying that I want to do more for society. I want to do more for humanity. I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive. I don't want to operate on a hunch. I don't want to believe in things. I want to know for a fact. That is taking a strong, strong stance. And that is aligning with people, not aligning with other businesses and aligning with where industry is headed or what Davos is telling you. It's saying, I want to align with human beings because I know that they are the fundamental thing that supports our systems and all the interactions on this entire planet.
Yeah, maybe there's an executive out there and they're from Walmart, Chipotle, any of these, Patagonia, and they want to have a conversation. What's the easiest way for them to get a hold of us?
They can write an email to contact@tartle.co, podcast@tartle.co, where they can call our main line. We're not like a closed door here. Reach out. We're here to talk and listen. This is something that's worth time, and we're willing to spend that time with you. We have not made this like a commodity. In no way is it a commodity. It's too important for it to be commoditized. We don't commoditize human beings. So we're not going to commoditize your time. We're going to create moments with you. We're not just going to say, here's an hour, call it. We'll do what it takes to make sure that we're all making the best, most effective choices.
For humanity.
For humanity.
Perfect.
Close this out.
Thank you for listening to TartleCast with your hosts Alexander McKeag and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?